some surgeons work in Leighton, general surgeons, and Misti, one of our ACPs. These slides are almost the same, when we won the Penn Award this year. But I've changed a little bit. You don't have to change one slide with the new presentation. So I put a new line there, so that's a new one. But the idea that look into insight and improvement, because the presentation we did in the Penn Award was about our ambulatory care unit, but I think this meeting is about insight into improvement. Why do we do that? What's the reason for us actually initiating this process and delivering the ambulatory care unit? This is a picture of our team. Actually, our team expanded much more than that now. We have more ACPs. This is when we are just starting from that point. All these smiley faces change now. Sad faces. Anyway, we'll come back to that point. But once upon a time, there was an acute trust in Cheshire, and we are in a unique position. We are somewhere in Cheshire. We are an hours-a-year trust, so if you draw a line about 20-25 miles, there's nothing around us, so there's no hospital around that area. So in a way, it's a blessing and it's a curse in a way, because a blessing that by definition you can't close the hospital because some kind of a acute take care has to be within that area, but at the same time, it's a curse because you're not close enough to anything else regarding tertiary service. We have good connections with Stoke-on-Trent, Royal Stoke, regarding our services, but at the same time we take our trainees from Liverpool, from Mersey, at the same time our medical students come from Manchester. So it's like we are taking from all around us from that point, which is in a way is good, and our services adapt to that point of view. So we have connections to Manchester, to Midlands and all these areas there. But why we decided to do ambulatory care? Well, we did have a medical ACU. There was at some point significant drive for ambulatory care within the medical point of view. At NHS England, at some point there was a big drive regarding doing that, because it's well described that it actually works for medical patients with a certain number of conditions. But does it work for surgery? That was a question. We did have a lot of A&E pressures with GP admission going there, and there was, of course, as usual, there's no better than SACU, patient can't be seen, waiting for hours and hours. We did have what we call a surgical assessment area, but we lost the space, like anywhere else, for some beds. But the main thing is to challenge the way that we manage surgical take. Why do patients have to be in a bed to be seen by a surgical team? Why do they have to wait for how many hours to be seen? Why do they have to stay in a bed the next day to have a scan? That was the main challenge from that perspective. Why do they have to do that? So, at the same time, we create a new theatre ITU complex which has been funded and built in, and we managed to refurbish the old HDU. With a lot of lobbying, we managed to actually create that old HDU to be our surgical ambulatory care unit. So we've had the space to run that. Well, that's really important. And this is our surgical ambulatory care unit, which essentially is a big bay with chairs, nothing else. And in that bay, you've got 6 chairs, we've got 2 bays, in total 12 chairs. And essentially, there's no beds, no trolleys, essentially just a chair that patient can actually walk in and sit and get treated for there. But as a condition, they have to be able to walk. They are ambulatory patients. You can't have anybody who's unwell, in a sense. This is our mission, to provide healthcare and emergency care. And essentially, just trying to avoid the admission. And the main reason for all of that is that it's about patient experience, patient process within that emergency point of view. So patient comes in assuming they need to be seen quickly because they come in quite anxious, seen by the GP. GP said, oh, you have to come in, you've got a major problem there. So they already comes in quite anxious, and for them to wait for hours and hours to be seen by somebody from the surgical team actually put a lot of strain from a patient perspective. So we thought having that process of seeing the patient quickly will actually relieve that pressure from that point of view, number one. Number two is that a lot of patients that we see, ambulatory patients, are patients with problems that you can actually deal with on an outpatient basis or on an urgent outpatient basis. You know, young females with low abdominal pain, which clearly well, they need ultrasound scan to reassure themselves. They don't need to be in the bed. All what they need is just go home, come back next day, have your scan, see somebody else, you know, another surgeon to reassure you. So they don't need to be in the bed. And in the past, we used to have patients stay for 3 days waiting for ultrasound scan, just for a scan, to be told, oh, you're well, off you go home, after wasting 3 days of their life just waiting for a bed. So we joined the SACU network. We are the first cohort from that point of view. We did a lot of work, math processing, talking to nursing staff, talking with our team, to actually to draw the flow of how patient would flow. And that was a rough idea of how would we do it. Look, GP referral comes in, SACU, and we managed to bring that works or not, maybe, you can see it there. So that was the crucial part, the senior review. And if you create the old process, GP referral, and from that comes in about 5 lines of nursing staff, F1, F2, SHO, registrar, ACP, and then you see the consultant after about 6-8 hours. And at that point, because someone can say, you can go home. And the patient will say, okay, well, I've been here for 8 hours now, it's 7 o'clock in the evening, I'm not going to go home, I'm going to stay till next day morning. So what we did, we brought that to the beginning. So the patient see a senior consultant or senior registrar or somebody with ability to make clear decision making to the front. So within an hour and a half, maximum 2 hours, you will see somebody who can make a decision. You're going to go home or you're going to stay in with a clear plan. And that changed things a lot for us. And everything flows from that point regarding admission or anything else. We've had clear KPIs, and you can see a lot of these things are time related, because that's what actually we talk about our point of what we look at time point of view, because that's what matters to patients. Patient comes in waiting any for 4 hours not to be seen. Patient went for the same day. So that's what all of our KPIs about time and waiting for what happens. So how do we do it? We engage with our primary care. AMPs used to take the calls, make sure to clarify patients who are actually fit to come to the ambulatory. There's no point somebody comes in and well, because what's going to happen, they're going to occupy the unit, the nursing staff, they will spend time trying to deal with this patient, and other patients who are well enough will be delayed in that process. So clearing that is important. We create experience-based design, include the staff and patient to map their process, map their journey from that point of view. We engage with other specialties, because it's important to have scans, CTs and MRI, because without them I can't actually make a decision about discharging home or making clinical decisions, because that's part of that process. We had virtual ward reviews, and that's really crucial from that point, because our ACPs, you'll be able to reassure patients. Patients go home and say, don't worry, we'll give you a ring tomorrow morning, we'll make sure you're all right. And they know that if they're unwell, they can speak to us, and we can bring them back in to see them to our ward as well. And we try to expand the AMP rules. And that's an example of our experience-based design. So patient asks when they arrive, what do they feel, when they arrive, how do they feel, and then the end. And there was a clear changes on that. So clinically, there was clear evidence that our discharge rate has increased significantly. There was 104%, 5% increase in 10-day discharge, because patients were able to go home. Our length of stay gone down, 24 hours being reduced in the mean length of stay, and we saved 102 bed stays in each month from just literally using that ambulatory care unit. And as you can see, our take's been going up, and the time for senior reviews gone down significantly. But at the same time, for patients' feedback, a lot of patients before they arrived, they were worried and they were anxious, but towards the end, they were actually, they were much improved from that perspective, feeling much better and more comfortable. And the comments have been given that they actually been happier with what's going on. It's all about communicating with the patient, making sure that they're actually aware of what we are doing with them from that perspective. What are the challenges? Our main problem is, because if you look at the picture, it was a bay, which used to be like a bay would be refurbished to be like a hospital, like any normal bay, which means you can't put beds in it. So as we're still in winter pressures up till now, never stopped, so it's been bedded on and off. So when you have that problem, you lose a unit. When you lose a unit, you can't function because the whole team works that you have to work from a certain unit because that's how you function. You have to have somewhere to bring the patients back to. We try to move somewhere else. We're managing that, so we still function to a degree, but not to a maximum what we want. But that affects on the patient journey and experience because the patient being told come back to Ward 11 or SACU, come there, we're not here, we are there, and that's a problem from that perspective. And effect on staff because staff get frustrated. They come in, am I here? Am I there? Where am I? So, but we got a solution for that in the pipeline. We're hoping by May next year we're moving to a unit purpose build, which doors can't fit beds in. so they can't physically bring a bed into the units. I made you to measure it. I made you to measure it. A bed can't go through that door. So that's going to be done in May by May. So that's station where it is. What's next? I'll leave that for you.
What is that? So part of our ambulatory care service as well is we have a lot of ward attenders that come back. So not ward attenders aren't just the patients that we see that we bring back for scans. They sometimes might be patients that have been discharged from a surgical ward with drains, just need repeat bloods, need a wound review, little things like that they don't necessarily need to stay in for. At the moment, or previously, the referrals were made to the ACP in the morning at the handover, and they were put in this really old torn diary, which we've now got rid of and put away, haven't we? And our next process is to get this referral process up online. So it's kind of there, it's just waiting to be trialled, so we need to get back and get all that sorted ready for when we move over in May. So Ali referred to earlier saying the ACPs took the calls from the GP. That over the past few months has been handed over to the streaming nurses. The reasons for that were the GPs really, so the GPs were spending less time on the phones, therefore the patient was getting through quicker, getting put to the right place. There weren't as many people just rocking up in A&E, so there weren't as many GP patients sat waiting in A&E. It's still very much a trial process for the streaming nurses, and our role has kind of moved on to supporting them really. And as with everything, it's got its teething problems, it's got its pros, it's got its cons. So I think that's a bit of an open door really. We'll see where that goes. And as Ali has already said, it's about relocating the unit. And the thing that I'm most excited about is starting a surgical plan investigation unit. So we do have a lot of patients returning back to the surgical wards that come back for electrolyte infusions, just basic IV fluid infusions, and we don't tend to take them on SACU because they're taking up a GP chair and they could be sat there for 3 or 4 hours. So, and again, you can bring those drains, you can bring the wound reviews in and get them away from the wards, make it a more pleasant experience for the patient. We're not sat in the day room without anything to eat or drink or a boring old TV there. So that is us really for the next few years.